Hello everyone and welcome back to English 1520 for the week 6 overview. This is the posted video. My apologies in the launch. I had an issue with loading the video up. A couple of different things snagging here, but the should be up at 6:30, 6:40 sometime around then. The basics of this week 6 overview. A quick reminder that week 7 next Tuesday will be the final optional Zoom session for anybody who wants to participate in that. I will be doing that final one live like that, and then the weeks ahead, the last two, finalizing these pieces. I am still working on a couple of students posting feedback and grades for some students things on rhetorical analysis, and then other students just the argumentation, working up through these, and some of the grades on the peer review discussion board forum. The discussion board forum, I can't say enough about how well that went, with a lot of students offering great feedback and participating with one another. I got in on a few of them, and I read and reviewed the majority of them. I commented on a few myself, contacted individual students about some of the things that I saw, but overall that worked really well. I am going to say that this upcoming week here in week 6, I'm not going to be posting up another peer review forum for argumentation. I'm still working to get feedback for a couple of students on those things, so I am not going to do another one. I simply won't have time to go back through and grade an entire another forum on these. So we'll be working on argumentation rough drafts this week, but the big thing for week 6, there's no additional videos. Every student who I needed to address argumentation topics, that needed any type of adjustment, I've already addressed those on the summary and working thesis, and then further comments on some of them on the primary points of support, and then looking at some of the stuff that was handed in with the outline. I addressed those. I only have a couple of students who still need to make a few adjustments before drafting starts going in, and I think I'll have, if they're not already posted on those, I'll have most of those posted by Wednesday. But the new assignment that we're overlapping with now is the cultural analysis piece. Now, cultural analysis, I put here, readings from here on will include general publication articles that explore some aspect of the cultural impact of a given topic. As you read, pay attention to the details writers provide that exploring and explaining the cultural impact of these topics. So these are general publication, meaning that they're in magazines and papers and things, that trade magazines sometimes, and sometimes other ones, more popular pieces. We're not looking for something here that's strictly resigned to peer review in terms of its support. For some students, you're going to be picking a topic that's a little bit more current. These are topics where it's something of interest to you that you feel is had a cultural impact, and that you can prove it through either database research or through sheer popularity in other mediums. There are certain video games that have had such cultural impact that people know taglines and characters from them, and I'm sure that there are plenty of them I don't know about today. I know some that my youngest actually is into some of these, with the Fortnites and things like that. I don't know a great deal about them myself. But I do know that that would be a culturally significant topic. So with this week, we have completion of argumentation rough draft by Sunday, the 19th at 11:30, and then the outline for the cultural analysis summary, thesis, outline, and works cited by Monday at 11:30. So a day buffer there between the two. Now, there will be no further peer review discussion forums, as I said. With this argumentation rough draft, most students should be able to be nearly complete with the information on their argumentation. I only had a couple of students where I really need to make major adjustments. I've already, as I said, marked those and commented on summary and working thesis, and then primary points of support. So make sure those adjustments are made. I'll be reviewing those rough drafts as they come in, and then just if something's not posted on there, trust me, I'm getting to those on there. I had some students over others that needed a little bit more time and attention on some of the things that they were having issues with. But the argumentation rough draft, due by this weekend. 10 sources still. Most of you didn't have to change anything. I did have 2 of you where I commented on the sources you're providing. Make sure that those are from peer-reviewed databases for the argumentation, right? Those have to be from peer-reviewed sources that we can verify. These are major topics about things that have research behind them, that we can find both sides of arguments and those kinds of things. If there was an issue with those, make sure that you are getting all your sourcing from databases. Do not submit a works cited page that is compiled of sources that are from external things, like you found them in magazines and newspapers or whatever else. They must have gone through peer reviewed and be in our OCC databases. Your only place for researching for the argumentation was OCC database. Okay, the reason I'm reiterating that is that it is different with the cultural analysis piece for this week. So make sure that the rough draft meets the requirements for this weekend. Complete the first full 2 pages of this argumentation paper along with the argumentation works cited of 10 sources. Intro must follow the general to specific. Remember, that is a general category, full statement, specific example, then your topic, then thesis. All bodies for and against must begin with topic sentences. A primary point of support claim for for, and then primary point of opposition for against, obviously. And then all body paragraphs must include 1 to 2 quotes as minor supports to claims. All paragraphs must include a concession or refutation. All against paragraphs can include the concession or refutation. You must deal with opposition. Works cited should begin at the top of a new page after the draft, and the drafts must follow all MLA requirements. So you shouldn't have to reiterate those over and over. Those things have been since the very first week. With the quote formats, make sure that you're adhering to using the quotes as supportive details to claims that you're making. So if you have a claim statement, you got a topic sentence, and then you give an example of that topic sentence following it, its first point of support. I recommend students use transitional elements if you make a topic claim like one proof of the impact of anthropogenic climate change is the following, as the topic sentence, and then you say one example of this is A, and you give that statement using quotes as supports for those. That follows that quote format of intro quote, give quote, explain or defend quote. We should follow that for all of these, making sure that every time you're using a quote, it's in support of something that you've given as an example in your body, not to make the claim for you. Use it as support, and then following the quote, always make sure that you explain or defend the use of that quote. I recommend to students wording like, this quote shows, this quote explains and or defends the idea of the following, using that type of wording to follow that quote. The portion on here, then, when we're looking at the cultural analysis, this on the assignment for the week, it sounds like it's a lot, but the template's pretty straightforward and it's pretty simple to follow. Cultural analysis, summary, thesis, it's a working thesis, outline, works cited page. You're going to be going through for this portion and take a look at some of the articles that are included here for the week on week 6. There are articles here on the cultural impact of Pac-Man, the video game, and this one claiming the most important and iconic video game. Harry Potter as a cultural phenomenon, the book series, and then movies. This is an article, How Harry Potter Changed the World, and then the actual cultural impacts of Harry Potter and on the next generation. And then here are some other ones on Bob Marley. These are some that establish some culturally significant, iconic, one is a video game, one is a character of fiction, and then the other one a musician and also cultural icon that for a number of reasons had lasting cultural impact. People to this day still are familiar with Bob Marley's music and some of the things that he stood for, or at least the conception of what he stood for. You'll find it interesting, some students reading about Bob Marley, that some things may be slightly different in reality than what they thought the reputation was, at least at times can almost become like a mythological perspective on certain iconic characters. And then next week, cultural analysis rough draft by Sunday at the 26th, and the final draft of the argumentation by Monday. Hopefully I will have gotten through everyone's on both the outline things. I will have gotten through the outlines, but rough drafts on that, at least for approval and credit. By Monday the 27th, that will be the final draft of those, and then the cultural analysis rough draft by Sunday the 26th. Now, I won't be able to provide much feedback on those besides marking them for credit. Make sure that we are looking at feedback that does get posted for your summary and outline right away on next Tuesday and Wednesday. So if there is anything that needs to be adjusted on the drafts, you can do that from the feedback on summary and outline. I don't really make a lot of make students do a great deal of changes on those as long as it is significant. I will point out when we go through the Dropbox in a moment that some topics, if I don't approve it, I usually offer suggestions, but the readings that come up throughout the next 2 weeks are just focused on things for cultural analysis. So the week 7 ones, these will actually be different articles that'll be posted here. And then on the final week here, these are just review from the prior week. And then the final week here, I have a whole series of new ones, all based off of Star Wars. You can read these all now. I didn't want to put a whole slew of new ones through the whole entire thing, but the final ones here, there are 6 of them focused on just Star Wars, which from my generation was a really big cultural phenomenon that's had lasting impact. I think that it's one students continue to write about, and it's a good example of something that has a very clear cultural impact, that it's popular for a reason, how it started and what the phenomenon was and why, those kinds of things. Plenty of examples you can give. So review those articles there to get an understanding of what it is to analyze something that's culturally impactful like that. And then for this week, the cultural analysis itself, the first assignment here is the summary, thesis, outline, works cited. The works cited, I'll say first, it's just looking for a minimum of 5 sources from things online. These can be, you can start with the databases. I think that for many students, they usually are able to find something from the databases to support their ideas first and foremost, because most of the topics, believe it or not, do end up having some type of criticism that goes into the actual system through our databases. And then following that, if you don't find things because you have more of a contemporary topic, you certainly can go with popular publications online. It is something I will approve. If I do not see something that, if I go through approval on this and I see that it's something that I need to make adjustment on those, or if I say that the topic's just not viable as this type of an assignment, I will contact the student and mark that on there right away. It's summary, outline with working thesis, and then works cited. The template is provided here. So, in brief, give a 250-word summary explaining what the topic is, how it began, who started it, why is it significant, or proof of its impact. The outline, just like your prior ones, in the general to specific intro, a general statement, right? Then the specific, not your topic yet. If I were writing about Star Wars, I might say there are a number of different film franchises or television franchises and film that have had cultural impact in science fiction. Here, my specific example might be Star Trek, since I'm going to write about Star Wars. For instance, Star Trek had the following impact, and then in your topic, I would say similarly, Star Wars also had a cultural impact. It was created by George Lucas, yada, yada, yada. And then my working thesis, I would make a statement about areas where I can see the cultural impact, the example of which is in that Dropbox, right? It says Star Wars cultural impact can be seen through the fan base, the continued production of its franchising and merchandise, and then the continuation of all the expanded universe, the films and television shows. So if that were the case, topic sentence 1 would be one area of its impact can be seen through the continued expansion of the fan base, another one here with the merchandising, and then the films, if I have a third one. Not everyone's going to have a third on these, so if you have one, great. If not, leave it off. The final thing on here is whether or not it's still stuck around and why. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this week. I will look forward to seeing these, and I will see everyone for the live one.